The Nintendo Switch continues on its quest to become the modern-day Library of Alexandria for video games, as we discuss a number of announcements on the Thirsty Mage.
Hello and welcome to This Week at the Thirsty Mage. I'm your host Casey Gibson, and here with me is a man who is truly feeling the weight of that backlog grow with each and every new game announcement, seemingly not even weekly, almost to a daily point, but that is the one and only David Lloyd.
Yeah, it's another week of video games, another week of not getting a haircut, so...
Yeah, well, see, I've beaten the system, man. You just stop growing hair up top and you don't need to cut as much, so, you get it's nice and easy,
Yep. Well, these days it's I'm measuring which is growing quicker, my backlog or my hair, so...
Well, I certainly know the answer
backlog
to that
is
question
winning.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that backlog, man. So we've got a whole bunch of games to talk about here, but we're going to kick it off with the Nintendo Online Switch service. We've got some SNES games and an NES game coming our way. So for the Super Nintendo, we've got Donkey Kong Country, the classic, the first of the trilogy, and the first of what has now, I guess, been a long-standing series. There's a little bit of a break, but it seems that Nintendo's brought back the, with Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. So finally, you can play the classic now for free online. Very good game. Is it the best Donkey Kong Country game? No, but it's still worth playing. Got some really great music and a lot of really cool gameplay. So that's a game that I personally have a strong affinity for. Is that something you've been, that you've played in the past or have any strong connections to?
Yeah, that's the one I've played the most. My cousin actually had the whole trilogy, so we would often play all three. So I've played a little bit of each of them, but of the three games that got announced for the Nintendo Online service, I'd have to say that this is definitely, of those three, the one I would most likely play.
Yeah.
Natsumi Championship Wrestling doesn't. It looks neat, but I can't see myself playing that much. And I remember the Immortal from NES. I remember renting that game and being so mad at how hard the game was. There's so many quick deaths, and I actually recommend people Google the ending, the final battle of the Immortal. It's pretty wild what you have to do to actually beat the final boss. So. I think you'd have a more entertaining time watching it on YouTube than you would playing it. So, but the thing that disappoints me the most is that I actually heard that Shin Megami Tensei was coming to the Nintendo Online service, but apparently only if I know how to speak Japanese. It's not. It's not a localized version coming to the Western version of the app, which was what I was hoping when I first heard about it coming to the Nintendo Online, but. I guess the folks in Japan will be able to enjoy it.
Damn Nintendo. Yeah, it's funny, actually, Perry, when he got a Craigslist roundup of tons of Famicom and Super Famicom games, so I actually have the first two Shin Megami Tensei games, in Japanese, in box. If they were over here, I'd show them, but pretty cool. But yeah, I was looking up the other games. Yeah, the Championship Wrestling, like you said, that could probably be fun to mess around with for 5 to 10 minutes. It's a wrestling game, right? The Immortal, though, I tell you what, I didn't really know about that game. I took a quick peep online, and it at first gave me sort of Diablo 1 vibes with how you're sort of traversing. But then when you encounter an enemy, you go into this weird, they tell you, they're I will defend my king, or you cannot be in here, and then all of a sudden you get into this weird one-on-one action dodging attacking gameplay loop. Looked really strange. It looks like maybe a game that I don't know how much fun it would be today, but you know what, that's the beauty of the online service. If you're paying for it, if you're playing online games, you're getting these games as part of that package, and you jump in there and you can play it for 5 minutes, and if it stinks on ice, well, so be it. You know what I mean? Just move on to the next one. So, I'm glad they continue, to put these games out here, and it's nice when they put some of the oddball games that you might not necessarily be too familiar with, because like I said, to me, it's just a good platform to sort of experiment more so than maybe go in and play a game from beginning to end. So.
yeah, some of these games I wouldn't pay money, like, obviously I've already given money to Nintendo for the online service, but I don't know if I would have given them, you know, $5 or $10 for the game itself, so it's, at least at this point now, you know, a lot of folks would be able to at least say, hey, we've played the Immortal.
Yeah, way more than probably currently can say that, so. But
right.
Speaking of games that we want to play, I think this next one is definitely on both of our radars. I know it's on mine, as in it's already been pre-ordered, and that is ArcheAge Origins. Obviously, I think my affinity for the Ys series, despite it only being one game deep for myself, I played Ys 8, absolutely fell in love with it, so I'm super interested in the series, and I'm loving that we're getting more ways to play this. Now, what's cool is it's being published by Limited Game Runs, so we're getting a physical copy. If you're in the States, that is $30. They have a really, really cool collector's edition, which it took every fiber of my being not to pre-order the collector's edition. $70 in the United States or North America. Well, I shouldn't say North America because it's going to be more expensive in Canada. But for US, that's $70. You get like a steel book, you know, an art book, a soundtrack, some extra goodies. Really a beautiful package. But ultimately, it was hard. But I went with the regular one. But I'm just excited to play this game now. What's cool is this is a, as one might sound, from the Origins. It is a prequel to the very first game, and I think something along the lines of like 700 years or something crazy, like way before the events of the first game. And I don't think it's a super long game either. I think it's only like 10 to 15 hours, so nice to get those RPGs that aren't gonna, you know, kill you, especially, you know, we were alluding to the craziness of the backlog. So you're waiting to pre-order this sucker, but you're definitely in, right?
Yeah, I'm, next time I'm down at the EB Boutique, I'll be, putting in the pre-order as well, because, yeah, I'm really enjoying these Falcom games that are coming to Nintendo Switch, so, I'm on that train with you.
Heck yeah, man. And I mean, not much of a spoiler, but there's going to be a fully dedicated Thirsty Mage episode to this. We know Jordan's going to be in, you know, we're going to be playing this game, that's for sure. We're going to be covering it, so. Now, they said a 2020 release date. They didn't say exactly when. I think the fine print on Limited Run said like within 3 to 4 months, which would make sense because that's almost, you know, at this point through the end of the year. So we'll be playing this game within a couple months. I know I'm ready for it, and yeah, and I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I'm debating, like, do I want to go down a crazy Ys, try and play all or as many of these games as possible, you know what I mean? There are a lot of them. So maybe we'll start with ArcheAge Origins and see where I go from there. Maybe take the dive. That would be a heck of a video series, but
yeah,
might be getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah, like I don't know if I'm ready to commit 400 plus hours to this yet, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, we go till we fall off the truck.
Yeah, till we go till we're dead.
That's right.
Now, speaking of dying, I think you're probably going to die a whole lot in this next game.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to finish up here with just kind of a mini review, I guess, of Void Terrarium. This is a Nintendo Switch game from NIS America. And this is a neat roguelike. This is really kind of the very definition of a roguelike. Basically, you're playing as this little robot, and it's kind of in a post-apocalyptic Earth-type area, and you're going through these this grave or scrapyard, I guess it is, and you come across a human. And the point of the game is that as the robot, you've discovered this human, but they're very sick, and so you're finding different ways to help. Like you're finding food for the human. You're finding ways. Like I said, post-apocalyptic, so there's spores that are toxic. So you're trying to get rid of like the toxicity around it. So you're building a terrarium for the human. You're furnishing it with items that you find out in the world, and it's all like these underground caverns that you're exploring. And So you go to the different areas as the robot, and you're just kind of running through. It's kind of like a grid-based. I compared it a lot to Shiren the Wanderer from Vita, because it's kind of that same where it's a turn-based roguelike where each move or each movement is like on a grid, and it counts as a turn. And so you fight different enemies on the map, and your experience grows, and there's a whole bunch of meters that you gotta watch. So you've got as a robot, you've got an electrical meter that you have to make sure that you're always charged with power. You've got hit points for fighting with the enemies, and there's different items that you pick up while out in the wastelands, and you just keep going until you die. And then when you die, you end up back at your main hub in the scrapyard with the human, and everything you collected goes towards making life a little bit better for this human. So I'm really enjoying it. It's pretty simplistic. Like, the maps so far are pretty much the same. Like, it's procedurally generated, so no map is ever the exact same. So you're going through different levels or different levels, I guess, because you're kind of going up areas, and when you die, you go back, and everything kind of looks the same. I'm kind of hoping maybe the aesthetic changes a bit in later levels, but I'm having a great time with it. And anyone who's a fan of kind of that true roguelite where you build experience and then you get more powerful, and you keep going until you can no longer go, and then you have to start from square one. And then again, in roguelite fashion too, is when you end up back at the scrapyard, there's a few things that you can take with you into the next run, but it's pretty close to starting fresh. So it's it's a pretty fun
not
time.
a roguelike, it's a roguelite. It's a roguelite.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so funny how I feel like the people who love these games are so nitpicky with the titling there. But it sounds really cool. I always like I said, I feel like before the Switch, I was not really into roguelike and roguelite games. And then with the Switch just getting so many games and the floods, like, I ended up trying them, and I definitely fell in love with the style of gameplay. Like you said, it's rewarding to see how far you can get. And like you said, I could go either way. I like the games that, make it a little bit easier for you moving forward. But I'm totally in with those games that are like, hey, this is it. Every run is fair, no matter who's playing, no matter, if it's your first or 100th time. It's the level field, the playing field is level. So very, very cool. Very, very cool. Now, and you're playing that on the Switch, right?
I got the Switch version, and having a fun time playing in handheld. I haven't played in handheld in a long time, really. I've been playing a lot of dock, but I've been kind of just the way that you can kind of play in small 5 to 10 minute sequences is nice, where it's just you have in between doing chores or something.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So it's it's been a fun time so far. I'm trying to get through it, and we should have a review up for it probably in a few days from when this video launches. So
awesome. Well, that's going to be it for this week on the Thirsty Mage. We hope you enjoyed the show, and will consider liking and subscribing down below. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram using the handle @TheThirstyMage. And of course, you don't want to miss all of our upcoming episodes of the podcast. You can search us on any podcast catcher @The Thirsty Mage, or just The Thirsty Mage, I should say. You look it up there. We got tons of episodes. Like I said, we're covering new games that are just coming out. We're covering retro releases also. We finally got Jordan and everyone on board for a Quest 64 episode, so you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled for that. We know you won't want to miss that one. But of course, again, thank you for checking us out here, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.